And hello everybody, it's Max Q here, and today we are going over what launched last week. This is going to be just kind of like a weekly thing, unless there is a week where there are not any launches. And with this coming year, and all the launches that are scheduled, quite frankly, I just cannot see that happening. Maybe like week after next, there might not be any launches. I think there's like one launch. But next week is packed full of launches. Like there is a launch every single day. So, but let's not get there. That's in the future. Let's go back and see what happened this week. So, first of all, there was Gaofen 14, which launched on a Long March 3. But let's talk about the Long March 3 and what it actually is. So it has 3 stages. It's 56.3 meters in length. It's 3.35 meters in diameter. Its fairing diameter is 4.2 meters, which is a medium-sized fairing. Its launch mass is 456 tons, and its thrust is 5,924 kilonewtons. That's a medium lift launcher. Its launch cost is $70 million for a medium lift launcher. It's pretty expensive. It's 12,000 kilograms to low Earth orbit. But yeah, that's really all we know about this. And it's also launched by the China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation. So, yeah, that's the Gaofen 14 for you. It went into a synchronous orbit as well, but I'm not really going to get into what that is. So, yes, now, while we're on the topic of orbits, let's get into an orbit that I am very familiar with, the ISS orbit, or low Earth orbit. Falcon 9 Block 5 launched Dragon CRS-21 to the ISS on December 6th at 10:17 a.m.
And you just saw on screen, successful main engine cutoff, stage
1 entry burn startup.
And there's our entry burn. Again, that's 3 engines slowing the first stage down before it hits that dense part of the Earth's atmosphere.
Trajectory nominal.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
There's a view from our drone ship. Here comes Falcon 9.
Eco.
Stage 1.
And Falcon 9 has landed once again. That is the 68th successful first stage.
It's the first cargo variant of Dragon 2 to be launched. So, yay! Second its third uncrewed mission of Dragon 2. And maybe thinking, whoa, wait, what? There's another one? I am including the in-flight abort test, but you wouldn't really count that normally. But it launched on booster B1058, which is the same one that launched Bob and Doug up to the ISS. Man, that was a great mission. And it landed back on the same drone ship that it landed on when it did. Of course, I still love you. And then, so yeah, it has, the Falcon 9 Block 5 has 2 stages, and it's 70 meters long, 3.65 meters in diameter, and its fairing diameter is 5.2 meters, which is it's a big fairing. And its launch mass is 540 tons, so just over the Long March 3. And its thrust is 7,607 kilonewtons, and its launch cost is 52 million. But yeah, so let's talk about the booster. This was its 4th flight. Okay. And then what launched next was the Long March 11. I really don't know much about this launch vehicle. I really don't know much about any Chinese launch vehicle because I just haven't really studied up on that stuff. But this launched the GCAM, which is a gravitational wave high energy electromagnetic counterpart all sky monitor, or GCAM. But it went up to low Earth orbit. It's a 4-stage rocket. Its length is 20 meters. Its diameter is 2 meters. We don't know its fairing diameter because they just haven't released that. Its launch mass is 58 tons, and its thrust is 1,170 kilonewtons. And its payload to low Earth orbit is 500 kilograms. That's pretty much all we know about this rocket. And it was launched by the CASC, the China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation. You will be hearing me call it CASC from now on. I'll probably put it in subtitles at the bottom, that way you know, but it's so much easier for me to just say CASC. So let's look at what launched next then. That was a good one. The Starship SN8 12.5 kilometer hop, or flight. I'm so used to calling it hop. Alright, and this is liftoff of the Starship 12.5 kilometer flight. I figured I'd do a voiceover because there are a lot of things in this that look really bad, but in reality are not bad at all. So, yeah. But it's a really slow liftoff. Does not take, it takes about 5 minutes to get up to apogee. So, brace yourselves. Everything's still looking good here. You can tell it's fully fueled. We didn't expect it to be fully fueled because, or it's not fully fueled, but it's almost fully fueled because when we heard that when they released that they were going to do this. We expected it to not be fully fueled we expected it to be fueled very minimally, is actually what we kind of expected. So, but it's fueled a lot higher than we thought it would be. That is nominal, by the way. That engine shutdown, that was an engine shutdown, perfectly nominal. That fire in the engine bay is not nominal. That bit of like flaming metal, not nominal. But what you see just off to the side, I don't know what that is. I think it might be venting. But I don't know. But you can tell like the engine's like compensated for it right as it turned off. So yeah. But man, oh man, this is a long flight. Yeah, they're currently flying because right in we're in the upper hand corner, where it has the fin cam, which is facing down to the ground. There's like a little, like right at the very corner of that. That's like that's South Padre Island, basically. It's not in the corner, but like there's a little inlet that goes in, and that's South Padre Island. That thing that's kind of sticking out from the side. And there's another engine shutdown, nominal, we think. But if you haven't seen this, don't worry, this is everything that is happening right now, everything that happens up until pretty much the end is nominal. I knew it would make it up to 12 kilometers just fine. I did not expect it to do what it's about to do here in just a few seconds or minutes. I have no idea. And by the way, that's good. That's what we wanted to see. And by the way, it's fully in control the entire time, even in parts where it does not look like it's in control whatsoever. But you can tell it's very stable right now. So, yeah. I think this is an amazing flight. But we're going to skip past most of this. Alrighty. And right around here is engine light up. This I did not expect it all to happen. I expected this to come slamming right down into the ground. Green, not good. Explosion, not good. But I count this flight as successful, even though it exploded at the end. But just because it exploded does not mean it is a failure. Keep that in mind. It did everything it needed to do. All it needed to do was practice that belly flop and pitch over maneuver. Ignore the notification that I'm getting. This I could probably talk about for hours and hours on. Probably spend about 5-10 minutes on this one rocket. So yeah, this was an insane this was an insane launch. I had gotten up at 7 in the morning, started watching the stream, and at 7 in the morning, and then on Tuesday, and then it ended up getting scrubbed, and I was like, well, that's a waste of the day. So I ended up watching it the next day and thinking the same thing until it launched. So yeah, but it was a really, really cool launch. I recommend going and watching it a few times. I think you'll really start to gain appreciation for it. And I'd be surprised if you haven't seen it, because it's number 1 on trending right now. So yeah, I think. Yeah, so this is the second stage of the rocket. So it's not the first stage. So the first stage is Super Heavy, and then there's Starship, which is the second stage. Its length is 50 meters, its diameter is 9 meters, its fairing diameter is 9 meters, and its launch mass is 45 tons. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it's just the second stage. So it's not the full Starship Super Heavy, and right now we don't really know anything about this other than its length and diameter. So we don't know like how much it costs or anything like that, because they just haven't released it. SpaceX hasn't released it. So yeah, but that was a pretty cool launch. It was a long launch, so yeah, it was long. So yeah, but let's look at the Delta IV Heavy NROL 44 that launched last night. I have kind of nicknamed this the Scrub of the Year, because this thing really hasn't, like, it's taken a while, let's say. It was supposed to launch back in July. About 6 months ago. So yeah. And then it was supposed to launch, it got so close to launching, and then ended up firing attention, and then nope, and backing off.
6, 5, main engine ignition, 3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff. Liftoff, the United Launch Alliance Delta IV Heavy rocket carrying the NROL 44 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office.
On all 3 R-68A engines look good in the full thrust mode. Now 15 seconds into flight, vehicle's begun the pitch over maneuver. Body rate response look good.
You are hearing the voice of Patrick Moore providing launch vehicle ascent data.
25 seconds into flight, engine operating parameters continue to look good. Body rate response look good. Now 30 seconds in. Standing by for core booster throttle down momentarily. And core booster has begun throttling down as expected. The partial thrust level, engine response looks good. Core booster has achieved partial thrust level as expected.
So it had a few aborts. So it's a 2-stage rocket. The Delta IV Heavy is a 2-stage rocket, 72 meters length. It's a 5-meter diameter. And its launch mass, and in fairing diameter, it really depends on the variant, because it's sort of like the Atlas V, where it has 2 different fairing diameters. This one has more like 5, I think. But its launch mass is 733 tons. Its thrust is 8,674, finally. Its launch cost is $350 million. You could get a cheaper rocket that's more capable, SpaceX, for only $90 million. Except this is more secretive. But this is a really cool launch vehicle. I really like it, because when it launches, it is really cool, because it's like an orange it's like a really nice orange flame that comes out. Especially when like night launches of that vehicle are just the best. Its payload to low Earth orbit is 28,370 kilograms. Its payload to geostationary transport orbit is 14,210 kilograms, and its direct geostationary is 14,500 kilograms. But otherwise, we don't really know much about the payload exactly because it was a launch for the government, so top secret. So we don't really know much about it. Okay, so let's talk about the launch that was supposed to be today. There should be a launch happening about right. Oh, the countdown currently right now. There's a launch. There is a launch, but it's happening right around the time I'm filming this. There isn't a live stream for it, but it's the Astra 3.2 orbital launch attempt. Currently, right now, the countdown is in a hold, so I don't know anything about what's going to happen with this. If it does launch, I'll put it in subtitles. It has already launched, but let's talk about this rocket. Astra 3.2 orbital attempt, launching in about 20 minutes from when I am filming this. By the time this gets out, this will have probably already launched. If so, I will have a video. Well, actually, I probably won't have video of this one because probably not public domain. I don't think. But it's a 2-stage rocket. Low Earth orbit payload is 100 kilograms. That is all we know about this rocket. And it's being launched for Astrospace. Yeah, that's all we know. So yeah, but let's see what else is launching this week, because I know there's going to be a lot more. So back to that Starlink, or not Starlink. Should I start Starlink launch this week? No, there is not. Okay. So, but there's SiriusXM SXM-7, which should have launched today, like before recording this. I was gonna have this out like this video should be out by now, but this launch was actually holding it back, but it got scrubbed. So yeah, but it is launching December 13th, 2020 at 10:21 a.m. This is going to a geostationary transfer orbit. So this is a pretty big satellite, but we all know what SiriusXM is, I think. So yeah, but we've already talked about Falcon 9 here, so we're going to kind of skip all of that. We're going to talk about the booster itself. This was supposed to be its 7th flight. Booster B1051. So it's 51st booster ever made. This one launched on DM1, or its maiden flight was DM1. This was supposed to launch, or this was supposed to land on JRTI, just read the instructions. But we don't know if it's actually going to launch tomorrow. Its launch window is from 10:21 to 12:20, so that's about a 2-hour launch window. That's a fairly long launch window. But for today, we think the scrub was due to upper level winds, because they were talking a lot about that. That's what got it delayed so many times. And yeah, so let's look at what else is happening this week. There's an Angara A5 Brits M. This is going to be launching December 13th at 11:50 p.m. It's an instantaneous launch window, which means it has to launch at an exact time. If it doesn't launch, it doesn't launch. We don't know anything about this payload because I don't think there is one, or I think there's just a cinder block. That's usually what this type stuff is. So this is a 3-stage rocket. It's 55.4 meters in length. Its diameter is 8.86 meters in diameter. Its fairing diameter is 5 meters, so it's about the same as Atlas V. But I think this is more capable than Atlas V. But it has a launch mass of 773 tons. Its thrust is 9,600 tons. Its payload to low Earth orbit is 24,500 kilograms, and its payload to geostationary transport orbit is 5,200 kilograms. So it's a fairly capable rocket. I consider that like a medium high, heavy lift launcher. Not anywhere near a super heavy lift launcher like Starship Super Heavy SLS or Saturn V N1. But I consider this in the range of Delta IV Heavy, Vulcan, and Falcon Heavy. But yeah. So next up, on December 15th at 4:09 a.m. is one of my favorite rockets, actually, the Electron. It is going to be launching on December 15th at 4:09 a.m. Central Time. All of these are Central Time. So yeah. And this is launching from Mahia Peninsula, New Zealand. Or Omahe Station. I don't know if I said that correctly at all, so forgive me. And it's launching from Onenui. I have given up. I'm not going to try and pronounce that, but it's launching from Mahia Peninsula, New Zealand. Beautiful launch site. I do recommend watching this if you are up, but otherwise, I will most likely not be watching this because 4:09 a.m. doesn't exactly sound fun. But it's a 2-stage rocket. It's 18 meters long. Its diameter is 1.2 meters. Its fairing diameter is 1.2 meters. Its launch mass is 13 tons. Its thrust is 162 kilonewtons. It's a lot of thrust. Its launch cost is $6 million. Which is a fairly expensive cost. But they are aiming to get that cost down, as is everybody except ULA. They still have their costs crazy. And then their low Earth orbit is, the payload to low Earth orbit is 300 kilograms. So that's a small lift launcher. So or a light lift launcher. So, and its sun synchronous capacity is 225 kilograms. So yeah. But I also love the way that they name their launches. This one is called Strix A. The Owl's Night Begins. So they always do a good job of naming. Okay. December 16th, 6 p.m. Central Time. The Falcon 9 Block 5 NROL 108. This will be this booster's 4th flight. I am really excited about this one because it's a return to launch site. I really like the return to launch site missions. They are really cool because you actually get to see different views of the landing. You get to see it before it lands instead of like it's landing out at sea. You're not going to see that because it's way out in the ocean, and you don't want to like take a boat out there unless you own like a ship. Yeah, so next up is a PSLV XL launching CMS-1 GSAT-12R. This is a telecommunication satellite being launched by the ISRO, the Indian Space and Research. I think that's what it's called anyway. Indian Space Research Organization. So it's going to geostationary transfer orbit, or GTO, is what you're going to be hearing me call it. But it's a 4-stage rocket, length of 44 meters, diameter of 2.8 meters, and launch mass of 320 tons. Its name is PSLV XL. I don't know if I said that already, so I figured I'd say that. But this one usually launches to sun synchronous, so we only get to see what its launch capabilities sun synchronous are, and that is 1,800 kilograms. So this is a light lift launcher, so it's not by any means a heavy lift launcher like Delta IV or Falcon Heavy. So then we also have a Soyuz. Yay! Love those rockets. I mainly like stage separation of those rockets. So this is OneWeb 4. Soyuz 2.1B Fregat M OneWeb 4. It's launching December 18th, 2020 at 6:26 a.m. We don't know much about this. We don't know much about the OneWeb, except I know that they're down in Florida, and they were just recently bought out by the UK government. So that's what I know. So yeah, but Soyuz is a 4-stage rocket. Its length is 46.3 meters. Its diameter is 10.3 meters. So that's a wide rocket. It's actually wider than Starship. I mean, and if you saw the Starship hop, that's a big, and Soyuz is a big rocket. So its fairing diameter is 4.11 meters, and that's what makes it kind of small. Makes it seem small. Its launch mass is I'd hope it's not 3 tons. Its launch mass is 313 tons. Its thrust is 4,150 kilonewtons. And its launch cost is $48,500,000 or $500,000. Sorry. So that's an expensive launch. The payload to low Earth orbit is 8,200 kilograms. GTO is 3,250 kilograms. And that's being launched by the Russian Space Forces. But yeah, okay, so that's the launches for next week. Let's get on to some news. So there's a launch from Virgin Galactic, Spaceport America. But yeah, so let's talk about some of the news stuff that has happened. Okay, so they named 18 astronauts for the Artemis moon missions. Yeah, so, and here a list of their names. Joe Abaca, he has 3 previous space flights and 3 spacewalks. Kayla Barron, she is a rookie. Raha Clary is a rookie. Matthew Dominic is a rookie. Victor Glover, that's a name you've probably heard before. He is actually in space right now. He is on his first flight. Woody Hoberg is a rookie. Johnny Kim is a rookie. Christina Cook, she has 1 flight and 6 spacewalks. 6 spacewalks, including the first all-woman spacewalk. Kajel, I think that's what her name is. Kajel Lindgren has 1 flight and 2 spacewalks. Nicole Mann, who I think is going to be the first person, who's going to be the first woman to step foot on the moon. I'm pretty sure is what I heard. Is a rookie. Annie McCain has 1 flight and 2 spacewalks, and Jessica Meir, that's another name you've probably heard of before if you've heard of Christina Cook. She also took part of the first all-woman spacewalk. And she has 3 spacewalks under her belt as well. Jasmine Mogbelli is a rookie. Kate Rubins is currently on the ISS right now. And she has 2 flights and 2 spacewalks under her belt. And then Frank Rubiro, I feel like I've heard his name before, is a rookie. Scott Tingle has 1 flight and 1 spacewalk under his belt. Jessica Watkins is a rookie. Stephanie Wilson has 3 flights. Yeah, that's really all I can think of for this week. It's been a long episode. I'm so sorry about how long it's been. It's just because of how many launches have been this last week, and what's been happening this last week, and what will be happening next week. There is a launch every day, if not like 2 a day. So I'm sorry. Also, before you click off this episode, I have a video coming out for sometime this weekend, depending on the weather. It's an astronomy video talking about the Jupiter and Saturn conjunction. Please watch it, because it'll give you so much information, and if it is cloudy where you are, I will have a way to watch it, unless it's cloudy where I am, which is probably most likely the case, because that's just kind of how it works, you know, because like when there's like a major astronomy event, it's gonna be cloudy. You all know what I'm talking about, right? So, but yeah, I hope to see you guys next week. It's gonna be another great episode. Hopefully there will be less to talk about, and it will be a shorter episode. But yeah, but that's it for this week. I'll have another episode out next Friday. Alright, see ya.